That night has stayed with me for years, not because of fear or anything dark, but because it was the first time I saw my uncle in a completely different light. His name is Mark, and to everyone else in the family, he was just the fun uncle, the one who told jokes at Thanksgiving, the one who brought little gifts on Christmas that always seemed to fit exactly what you wanted. But to me, that night made him something more, someone who gave me the courage to step into the person I was meant to become. It was a rainy evening in Ohio, and I was 13 years old at the time, curled up in my room with a book I had already read 3 times. The rain tapped against the glass window, a soft background to the storm of thoughts in my head. I was struggling with myself. At that age, you don't have the words to explain the weight you feel inside. All I knew was that I felt small, unheard, and invisible in my own home. My mom was working 2 jobs, exhausted every night, and my dad had left when I was 8. I tried not to blame him anymore, but sometimes when I looked around, it was hard not to feel abandoned. Uncle Mark had come to stay with us for a few weeks because his job had moved him temporarily. He was staying in the guest room down the hall. That night, I didn't expect him to be awake, let alone to knock on my door. I remember hearing it 3 soft taps. My heart jumped, and for a moment, I thought maybe Mom was coming to check on me. But when I said, "Come in," it was Uncle Mark who pushed the door open. He stood there in his old baseball cap, still damp from the rain because he had gone out for a walk, something he always did when he couldn't sleep. His face looked softer than usual, maybe because of the light from my bedside lamp. He asked me if he could sit for a while, and I nodded, though I was nervous. It wasn't that I was scared, he wasn't that kind of person, but I had never really had a deep one-on-one conversation with him. He sat down on the edge of the bed, not too close, just enough that I could feel his presence. He looked at the book in my hand and asked me what it was about. I told him it was a story about someone who felt like they didn't belong anywhere, and for some reason, my voice cracked as I said it. That was when he leaned back, sighed, and said something that changed the way I looked at myself forever. "Emily," he said, calling me by my name in a tone I had never heard before, gentle but steady. "You don't have to fit in everywhere. You just have to be brave enough to stand where you are." At first, I didn't understand. I frowned and hugged the book tighter, asking him what he meant. He told me about when he was my age, how he had felt invisible too, like his family only noticed when he messed up. He told me he spent years trying to be like everyone else until he realized that he wasn't supposed to. He was supposed to be himself. I don't remember how long we sat there, but the rain outside seemed to quiet down as he spoke. He told me about mistakes he made, things he wished he had known sooner, and how he hoped I would learn faster than he did that my voice mattered. He said that one day, I would see the world needed me exactly the way I was, not quieter, not smaller, not different to please anyone else. I didn't say much that night. My throat was tight, and my eyes burned as I held back tears, but something inside me shifted. For the first time, I believed that maybe I wasn't broken for feeling too much, for being different, for not knowing how to fit in. When he finally stood up to leave, he turned at the door and gave me a small smile. "Don't ever forget this, Emily," he said. "You are enough. Always." That sentence has echoed in my head through every stage of my life since then. In high school, when I was too nervous to audition for the school play, I remembered his words and walked onto the stage anyway. In college, when I thought about giving up because I felt like I didn't belong, I remembered his words and pushed through. And even as an adult, when life felt overwhelming, I reminded myself of that night and how one person's encouragement became the anchor that steadied me. I don't think Uncle Mark even realizes how much that conversation meant. Maybe to him it was just one night, one talk with his niece. But to me, it was everything. It was the night I stopped feeling invisible. Now, as I write this years later, I know we don't always get to choose the moments that shape us. Sometimes they come softly, in the form of a knock on the door, in the quiet voice of someone who sees us when we can't see ourselves. That night with Uncle Mark was mine. And it truly changed everything.